What's up gamers, Brian from Island Delver Gaming here, and for today, we are back with some paper magic, and I'm gonna be featuring one of my favorite fun decks to play in Commander, Ayula, Queen Among Bears. So the idea of this deck is to make it very unbearable for your opponent and flood the board with a lot of bears. So let's get to know our commander. Ayula, Queen Among Bears, is a 2/2 legendary creature for 2, which has whenever another bear enters the battlefield under your control, choose one. Either you put 2+1/+1 counters on target bear, or target bear you control fights target creature you don't control. So what I usually do is that on turn 2, you usually don't do anything other than getting out Ayula on the battlefield. Then I think at the maximum I'll just pump her into a 4/4 most of the time. Anything bigger than a 4/4, Ayula will eat a removal. So with a 4/4 Ayula or making our bears 4/4, we will then snipe out our opponent's creatures by removing blockers and attacking them with very big bears, thus controlling our opponent's board and making the game very unbearable for them. Let's get into the remaining 99 cards. So 2 to cast, 2/2, no abilities. We have lots of bears like that, so we are trying to run almost all of them. So Balduvian Bears, a Forest Bear, it's a 2 to cast 2/2 from Portal 3 Kingdoms. Then Bear Cub, Runeclaw Bear, Grizzly Bear, a Mother Bear. So when this is in our graveyard, we can pay 5 and we get to create 2 2/2 green bear creature tokens. Next, we have a Werebear. This is not a good card, but it's a bear, so we are including this in our list. So this is a Spectral Bear from a very old set. It's 2 to cast for 3/3, but whenever Spectral Bear attacks, if defending player controls no black cards, then this card will not untap during your next untap step. Arguably the most powerful bear in terms of abilities. We have Wilson, Refined Grizzly, 2 to cast 2/2, but it has can't be countered, Vigilance, Reach, Trample, and Ward 2. It also has Choose a Background, but we're not running any backgrounds on this deck. Now we are getting into the 3-drop bears. We are running Dragon's Card Bear, Ulvenwald Bear. So we are definitely running a lot of bears, as many bears that I can find. Next, we are running Adaptive Automaton. It's a 3-drop 2/2 that whenever this enters the battlefield, we get to select a creature type, and we are definitely naming bears on this one. And it has this static ability that other creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. So this is our Bear Lord. Next, we are running Vivian's Grizzly Owlbear Cub. It's a 3-drop 3/3 which has Mama's Coming. So whenever this attacks a player who controls 8 or more lands, look at the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield tap and attacking that player. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. We are running Alpine Grizzly, Professor of Zoomancy, 4-drop 4/3 Bear Druid from Strixhaven. So when this enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. Striped Bears. I think what's also good in this deck is that we get to see these very old cards. Druid's Familiar, a 4-drop 2/2 with Soulbound. Goreclaw, Terror of Qualsisma. It's a legendary bear. It's a 4-drop 4/3 which has creatures you cast with power 4 or greater cost 2 colorless less to cast. And when this creature attacks, Each creature you control with power 4 or greater gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Then we have a shapeshifter here, Chameleon Colossus. It's a 4-drop 4/4 changeling, so it's all creature types at the same time. It's a bear. This has protection from black, you pay 4, and Chameleon Colossus gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is its power. Ruxa, Patient Professor, 4-drop 4/4 legendary creature, bear druid, and when this enters the battlefield or attacks, we get to return target creature card with no abilities from your graveyard to your hand. And of course, we have lots of bears with no abilities. So other abilities of this card, creatures you control with no abilities get +1/+1. And you may have creatures you control with no abilities assign their combat damage as though they weren't blocked. Exuberant Wolf Bear, 4-drop 4/4 Wolf Bear. Spirit of Aldergard. When this enters the battlefield, we get to search our library for a snowland card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. In my deck, I'm only running one snow-covered forest Owlbear. So it's a 5-drop 4/4 trample, and when this enters the battlefield, you get to draw a card. Surak and Goreclaw. So other creatures you control have trample, and whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it gains haste. Next, we have a very big Phyrexian Bear Rhino in Copper Host Crusher. It's quite fun. It's a Phyrexian bear, so definitely it's an auto include in this casual deck of mine. Now we're gonna be going into some spells that create bears. Grisly Fate is our first spell. Next is Titania's Command. Usually I choose the create bear and the 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature we control. Kyrian Ranger, you can return a forest you control to its owner's hand to untap target creature, activate only once each turn. So this is a pretty strong card. If you're playing Legacy, you know this card. It can enable a lot of combos. Elvish Visionary draws you a card. You can also abuse this and recast it many times. Next, we are running an infinite token combo. Ivy Lane Denizen. Just to quickly explain this, it's a 4-drop 2/3 that whenever another green creature enters the battlefield under your control, we put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. We usually combo this off with either Scurry Oak or Herd Baloth. So basically they will keep on triggering each other, making infinite number of 4/4s or 1/1s, and making a very big Herd Baloth or a Scurry Oak. Eternal Witness. This card is a staple for green commanders. Ulvenwald Oddity. It's a 4-drop 4/4 trample haste, and we can pay 7 to transform this. Becomes Ulvenwald Behemoth. And what we're looking for here is that it gives other creatures we control +1/+1 trample and haste. Renata, Call to the Hunt. Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Beast Whisperer. Whenever we play a creature spell, we get to draw a card. So, pretty cool card here. If you're not running this card in any of your green aggro commanders, I suggest getting a copy. This is a very cheap card. So another combo enabler here, Timor Sabertooth. It's a 4-drop 4/3. You pay 2 and you may return another creature you control to its owner's hand. If you do, this get indestructible until end of turn. So the same with the Kyrian Ranger, especially when you pair it with Ashaya, Soul of the Wild, will open up some combo shenanigans in this deck. Next, we are running our ramp package. Wild Growth, Llanowar Elves, Boreal Druid, Elvish Mystic, Arbor Elf, it's still basically a mana elf, and Fyndhorn Elves. Carpet of Flowers against blue commanders, so we can produce a lot of mana. Priest of Titania, we can tap this to add 1 mana to our mana pool for each elf in play. Very cool card. Karametra's Acolyte. Next, we are running our tutors for this deck. Worldly Tutor, Green Sun's Zenith, Weird Harvest, Defense of the Heart. Aside from the artwork, Hibernation's End is pretty useful in this deck. So it's an enchantment with cumulative upkeep that can also tutor your creature cards. Primal Command. It's a budget utility card that does a lot of things for you depending on what you need. Genesis Wave, Turn Timber Symbiosis for our tutors. Then some instant interactions on this deck. We are running Crow's Grip and of course Beast Within. So Planeswalkers are not usually used a lot in Commander, but the bonus that Vivian gives in making our creatures flash is like a very good upside, so we can't miss that. Balagan Recovery, so this is a land that can turn into a regrowth. And some card draws on this list. Harmonize that draws 3 cards. Shamanic Revelation draws us a card for each creature we control. And it has Ferocious. We gain 4 life for each creature we control with power 4 or greater. Return of the Wild Speaker. This can pump our non-human creatures, of course, bears are non-humans, and give our bears +3/+3, or we can draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-humans we control. Other ramp cards that we're running here are Mind Stone, Sol Ring, Chromox. This is not a ramp card, but it's a very good card. Rona's Monument, Panharmonicon, which doubles the triggers for our creatures. Lightning Greaves is a very good old school commander card. For our lands, what I did is that I was trying to include forest of different types. We are running only 1 snow-covered forest that we will be fetching. Then for the non-forest lands, we are running Dryad Arbor. Some lands that cycle, so if we draw them late game, we can just cycle them out. Tranquil Thicket, Slippery Karst, Desert of the Indomitable. Then some utility lands that we're running here. Memorial to Unity, 1 copy of Reliquary Tower, 1 copy of the Green Castle, Oran Reef, the Vastwood, Mosswort Bridge, Hideaway Greenland. It's very easy to have a total power of 10 or greater. Rogue's Passage. Last but not the least, we are also running Ancient Tomb on this list. That's it for my Ayula commander, queen among bears. So compared to my other commanders, this list is a more casual list. So hopefully you guys enjoyed my deck tech. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please do support the channel by subscribing and liking this video, so that you will be notified when I post my other commander decks. Thank you very much for staying with me up to this point. See you in the next video.